Welcome to Modern Mystic Radio, an intrinsic journey where we dwell on the deep and expand the narrow. Staring your favorite naturopath, Tash, on Instagram, Avant-Garden Life, and me, Philip. You find me on Insta via Power Plants Berlin. Together, you find us on Modern Mystic Radio. Welcome again. This is our second episode. Last episode, we had the topic groundlessness and spring shooting. We gave you some insight on how we ground ourselves, what happens when we're not grounding. It's basically that we are flying through the universe to the big mystery, allowing ourselves to dream, but we are not able to bring dreams back to reality when we are not grounded. So following this topic on being grounded, we're now flying up to the topic of dreams. This is what we're talking.
So our theme for today's show is dreaming, all forms of dreaming in your sleep, dreaming about work, dreaming about creative things that you can produce. And we want to delve a little bit into this, how we can navigate our dreams, how we can navigate when our dreams don't come true, and how we can just dream. And to start us off, we're going to have a song from...
Me, no. We're going to play Take a Vacation from Life and Visit Your Dreams by the Undisputed Truth. Let's get you into the mood.
Enjoy. Hello and welcome back. So we're just going to jump right into the theme of dreaming, and the plants we'll be working with today is the Artemisia family, which is very well known for supporting dreaming, especially lucid dreaming. The theme today with dreaming is about all types of dreaming. It doesn't necessarily mean the dreams when you sleep. It can also mean dreams of maybe a creative project that you want to birth, or a dream of some land you want to buy. And when we dream, we create a world that does not exist, which is what is so beautiful about dreaming. And then at some point it can come to a reality, and sometimes it doesn't come to a reality. And how do we navigate this space? I wanted to talk a little bit about the Artemisia in relation to the dreamings. Artemisia is a patron and protector of fertility and birth. And to dream, we need both of these. Our inner earth needs to be fertile to be able to birth the space. And for the earth to be fertile, we need to feed it, and we need to look after it and treat it like our baby. And when this happens, dreams can be birthed. They won't always come to a reality, and I did want to talk about this subject a little bit because it has been in my reality a little bit the last days or the last weeks. And when this occurs and our dreams don't come to fruition, this can be like a death of sorts. And when we have a death, we need to grieve. And I wanted to give some tips on ways that you could possibly support yourself through this, because it's not always easy to find spaces or ways to work with this idea of death of dreams. And what I sort of gathered the last week as a personal experience of mine is a few different ways that I thought could maybe help other people in these situations. Is to give yourself time to process the loss. Very, very important that you really take space for this. Allow yourself to be sad, angry, disappointed. Allow all those feelings to arise and then give them room to just be there. Just recognize them. Maybe look at why you're angry. Look at why you're sad. Sit in them for a little while. Don't stay in there too long. It's always important to come back out at some point. Self-care is key. We all know that self-care is very, very important. Most of us do not do enough of it. And I think that when we've been dreaming, we're living sometimes in another reality or another space, and we get brought down back into our reality when the dream doesn't come to fruition, and it can be a real slap across the face. And so self-care is really an important aspect to this. Take time away from whatever it was you were doing. Whatever the dream was involving, take a little bit of time to just put it to the side and just be whatever that is for you, whether that's seeing friends or whether that's going to a garden, going out and picking plants. Maybe you can go out and pick the Artemisia and work with this lovely plant a little bit. And take quiet time to listen. Just give yourself space and time to look at the darkness that surrounds that loss. And really try and come back and allow yourself to dream again. Try another subject or get back on that horse and allow the dreams to float back in. But it is very important that we allow this loss before we take the next steps, because otherwise we can get lost in our dreams and in our reality. Yeah. Do you have something to say to this subject?
I think, first of all, it's very interesting that you mentioning this grieving process in relation to the Artemisia, especially the Artemisia vulgaris. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later, but what came to my mind is that it's a super important plant for transition. And every death, even of an idea, is a transitioning process. And you can use this plant beautifully by smudging it, for example, and dwell in the smudge or the smoke of the plant to get along with a transition. And that could be a time of solstice. That could be a time of like when fall is going to winter, but that can also be dying. Actual physical dying or dying of an idea, going to another world or taking the next step. So
the Artemisia can be for everyone. That is actually the Latin name, the Artemisia plants. We have a few we're talking about today. We'll be talking about mugwort, which is the Artemisia vulgaris, and in German that is Beifuß. We'll be talking about wormwood, which is Artemisia absinthium, and in German it's called Wermut. And the Artemisia, what is the last one? We have another one. Artemisia annua.
Yeah.
We will also be having an interview where Sam will be discussing a lot on that subject, or some on that subject. The great thing, as Phil said, when it comes to the Artemisias with supportingness, is that Artemisia is also such a strengthening, stabilizing and affirming plant, and it really cradles us really beautifully when we're in some dark spaces, but also can help us when we just want to come into a dreaming state, whether that's in the dreaming world or whether that's in your daydreaming world.
Yeah, so the idea is to allow ourselves to dream again. Like we can, as heard before, take a vacation from life and visit our dreams, and that can be in the night, but that of course can also be during the day. I am a big daydreamer myself. As Pisces in my sun, I walk around dreaming of the world. And I think it's very important to allow yourself to dream in order to get new ideas, to be creative, to let some boredom sink into your life, to create new space for new things. If you follow routines all the time, like I think that also can be very helpful, especially if you're not such a grounded person. But break these routines, get into a creative state, try to get into a flow state, express yourself through art or whatever. There are several ways to do that with the Artemisia plant family, just by finding it in nature, which for Artemisia vulgaris is a very easy thing to do, especially if you live in Berlin. You find it literally on every street corner, in every park. It's blooming like crazy at the moment. They're becoming really big plants, 1-2 meters high, super, super beautiful. And you can just start to get in contact with the plant, talk to the plant. If you're not allowing yourself to do this yet, you can just touch it, smell it, feel it, hug it a little bit, like caress it, and see what happens to you. Watch your thoughts, your thought process, and realize that actually inspiration comes from the outside, right? Like our thoughts is like this endless stream of consciousness flowing, and we don't, like most of us, I guess, are convinced that it's coming from inside of our mind, from our brain. But I believe inspiration can come from everywhere, and
absolutely.
yeah,
And Artemisia is great for that. Yeah, like Philip says, have a touch of it, have a smell of it. We'll be throwing some recipes in later. Just work with the plants, as we spoke about in our last show. Artemisia is quite a powerful plant. It's been used since forever in magic and rituals and herbal medicine. Doctors have used it everywhere. It's been used. And it is so powerful that I think sometimes we do have to be a little bit aware with some of the plants when they have these powerful ways of creating or supporting dreams, that we're a bit of aware how we're using them and how long we're using them. And Artemisia on small doses is much softer, but on large doses you do have to be very careful, especially all pregnant women out there. You shouldn't be using it. It's contraindicated for you because it stimulates the uterus, just as a little note.
Or if you have too much heat in your body already.
Yes, very
from
good
a
point.
Traditional Chinese medicine view, it's a very hot plant, so you have to be careful if you're
very hot and drying.
Yeah.
So if you're, it's for the digestion, but if you have a really hot, aggravated digestive issue going on, it might be better to stay away from it. It's actually quite good for cooler types whose digestion is not working properly, because it really warms the digestive tract and helps it get moving again, and also brings aids in the taking in of the nutrients from our food. But always be aware of that with a plant. The heating aspects, the drying aspects. That's why if you are going to use these plants medically or medicinally, come and see me or Phil in the praxis in Mommsenstraße.
A nice commercial break. Yeah, talking a little bit more about the power of this plant. You can always look at the words that were used for plants like this. And Magwort in English, Machtwurz was one of the names that was used for the Artemisia vulgaris. Macht as the power, Wurz as the root of the plant. In traditional, or like in magic history, there's always the combination between of word and Wurz. Wort and Wurz is what makes a magic spell come true. So you need the plant or like an object of power, and using a magic spell or like anything like that in order to bring magic to reality, which is basically bringing dreams to reality. And this plant was used in shamanic and magic tradition for centuries, for thousands of years, for this transitioning state in order to get to the other world or non-daily reality. And it's very important to realize the power of such a plant, and when you use it, to respectfully address it, to respectfully forage it, to respectfully use it. If you use it as a tea, eating it, or as medicine. So it is one of the most powerful plants that we have on this planet. And interestingly, we forgot about it except for Christmas, where we stuff it in our what's this, Geese?
In the goose.
In the goose for the digestion, because it actually is great for digesting fats.
Yeah, fats, and bringing the liver and gallbladder into working.
And one way of using it also is you can smoke Artemisia. Always be careful when you do that kind of stuff. But it is a possibility to induce a certain kind of dream state. It's not super hallucinogenic, but you can smoke a few grams of it and you will have very vivid, surreal dreams in the night. And of course, dreaming is also a part of our night process. It is... I think it is very much discussed what it actually is, but we dream during the night, and there's loads of theories about what it actually does. Could be processing our daily life, our brain still working on solving problems, because that's what our brain loves doing. Interestingly, in psychology, they kind of found out that it our dreams react to a environment. They did a lot of research in sleeping labs on how we dream, on what we dream, on what is the content of dreams. So we have no clue what is actually happening in our dreams. There's only theories. There are a lot of experiments. I myself tried one a few years ago where there was this earl from France or England, or I forgot, 17th, 16th century, and he was obsessed with dreaming. And so he had this theory of if you play certain music during the day and while listening to the music, study a certain activity. And then he asked his butler, I think, to replay the music during the night, so he could continue studying the certain activity in his dreams.
Oh.
And he apparently was successful. And I tried it myself, but I failed for myself. But that might be lack of discipline. I think
maybe you need a butler.
I need a butler and shitload of money, probably, like nothing else to do.
Don't we all?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Maybe let's dream that one up.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Manifestation.
Yeah. So you can use your dreams in certain ways. Sam is going to talk a little bit about that in the interview later, on how he actually used dreaming. And yeah,
so I have a little expert that I wrote yesterday that I would like to read. This is a little thing I wrote on Mugwort yesterday. I was working a lot with her yesterday and the last weeks, and I thought this might help people to be able to dream, help when it doesn't work out, and also help when it does. The affirming, strengthening and stabilizing powers of Artemisia will not only allow us to dream, but will also catch us when we fall, cradle us within the dark shadows of grief. The strength of this plant is far and beyond. It is powerful, deep, and reaches spaces we probably didn't know existed. She can bring up old, deep, dark shadows which we tuck away, allowing us to step into our own. She will open up our third eye and throat chakras, giving us room to explore new possibilities, see new ways and ideas, and then express them. She will give you clarity and strength, opening up new worlds and fresh ideas. When you call on her, she will come and she will be everywhere. You will not be able to ignore her. She will speak to you in many tongues and touch all your senses. She will reach deep, creating big shifts within your life. So when you call on her, be aware that she will come and you need to be ready for all she has to offer. She will give her all. So that's what Artemisia means to me.
That's amazing. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so I think let's dig into the plants more, and first we're gonna have a little break, listen to another song before we're gonna talk more and about the plants. So
I would love to introduce this one.
Yes, please go for
Dreams by Eurythmics.
Sweet dreams are made of this. Sweet dreams are made of. What are they actually made of? Yeah, I think my sweet dreams are made of absinthe. And that's what I want to talk about now. Is a little bit first about a beautiful goddess that we call Artemis. That is the goddess of this plant. She's the sister of Apollon. She is the sister of the night. She's standing for the moon, in opposite of Apollon, who is the god of the sun. Yeah. So there's this holiness within the name of the plant already, of Artemisia. She is dedicated to the goddess Artemis, later Diana. She is the goddess of the forest, of virginity. She's the goddess of the moon. She's the protector of the children and the women. And these are all topics that you will find again in the plant family of Artemisia. There were a lot of festivities in order to honor Artemis and Diana, and these plants that we're going to talk about now, the vermouth or the Artemisia-Pflanzengewächse and the vulgaris, were used for these rituals. They were eaten by the men and women. It was danced around fires. Men were wearing women masks and women were putting on big phalluses. So it was like a fest of fertility. And
I love a woman in a phallus.
Yeah, we all do. And it was a show of travesty also, which was very interesting thousands of years ago. And there are rites of fertility, and it's a very fertile plant. I mean, if you put it in the garden, it grows everywhere. It really has strong seeds. That's why you find it everywhere. And it has a big strength working, aiding your fertility. So I don't want to do a whole monography on the plants, but I think I'm going to talk about what's interesting to me, and I think that's one of the aspects. It's the planet aspects. It's dedicated to the moon, which rules waters outside the body, inside the world, but also inside our body. The menstruation, for example, the lymph also. The moon rules our sleeps, the moon rules our dreams that we talked about before. And so Artemisia-Pflanzengewächse is a very interesting plant. It's very well known for its bitter agents inside. So it's a very bitter plant, and it's a traditional old healing plant for thousands of years. I think the first time it was ever mentioned that we know of now is in the Papyrus Ebers from 1600 before Christ. So they already talked and used that plant in ancient Egypt. Hildegard von Bingen, she called the vermouth the master for all modes of exhaustion. They brought the plant to South America, the Spanish, with the name of Yerba Santa, the holy herb. So you see, there's a lot of tradition with this plant, and of course, it was used not only for medical reasons, but also for just for fun, for psychedelic reasons. And that is the absinthe that I want to talk about. They used this drug in the artistic scene of the 19th century and before. What they do is they do a distillation of the vermouth to get out the touyon, which is the most psychedelic part. It's a terpene that's inside the plant, and absinthiine is an alkaloid that are both very deadly. So to be used with care, especially if you actually decide on distilling the plant, be careful. There's lots of talk about it in the internet, how to make your own absinthe, and I'm going to provide you with a recipe a little bit later that is strong, but I mean, not as dangerous. I wouldn't call it safe, but it is a method of having absinthe without distillation, just by maceration of the plants, which is, I think, a safer process. And they're all legal plants to gather or buy, so nothing to worry here. Yeah, so what they did is they mixed these plants together into absinthe, and the base of this was the vermouth, the Artemisia-Pflanzengewächse. And it is supposed to be one of the psychedelic drinks that we have here in Europe. They have a beautiful nickname for it, the green fairy. It's not 100% sure where it comes from. If you see green fairies while you drink it, or it's
maybe you act like a green fairy, a cheeky little green fairy.
yeah,
That's certainly my experience of it.
yeah, that could be. That could be. Yeah. Yeah, or the green color. It would be the easiest explanation. In any case, it is a super strong plant. It is a very powerful plant, of course, like all the plants in the Artemisia family, full with bitter agents. So it's used for digestion. It's antiviral, antibacteria, and anti-parasites, which is one of the most used cases, I would say, in the herbal tradition. It's the wormwood also. So for all of you that have children, you know sometimes there's Madenwürmer in the Kitas, the oxyures that are coming out your children, or also adults' asses in the night, and they just scratch yourselves. And with that, there's an easy use to use the plant. Often the plant is a little bit too strong for children, so you can just use Cina, Cina, as a homeopathic medicine in the D4, whereas still the enough bitter agents inside to work, but it's not as strong that it's working too much on the system of your children. And it's a very, very effective way to get rid of these worms. And the Cina is also from the Artemisia family. So that's a way of using it. And also for stomach aches, using with a full stomach. That's quite important because the bitters are very, very strong. It's one of the, not the most bitter, but one of the most bitter plants that we have here in Germany and Europe. Also, you can mix it with vinegar for low poisoning. That's a tradition, how they used it. And even 300 years ago, it was a recommendation for using it for malaria, which we're gonna dive into a little bit later, or maybe now. It's a good point. Like, it is the whole Artemisia family, especially the Artemisia annua, that Sam is gonna talk a little bit about later, is used for malaria worldwide, and it's a very political plant also. As I said before, the Artemis, she's the goddess, she's the protector of the woods, of the women. And the women of the woods, a few hundred years ago, they were often called the witches, the herbal women out there. And the Inquisition was hunting them, and there was a lot of killing of these witches, and the knowledge that they had working with the plants. And one of the plants that they actually forbid of using was this Artemisia family, and there was loads of it, like 300 types is what we have in Europe, I think. And the only ones that are surviving was the vermouth, because the Christians loved drinking the absinthe and vermouth, and the bifus for the Christmas goose. And the same thing kind of is happening again with the Artemisia annua right now, because it's a super strong antiviral and antiparasitic plant that is greatly used for malaria treatment. It even won the Nobel Prize, the first and only plant in the world that won a Nobel Prize in 2015, I think, where the artemisinin was isolated for the first time. And later on, they decided to use the isolation of this, I'm not sure if it's probably an alkaloid, and forbid the usage of the plants. So really in 2018, 2019, in Africa, there were fields burned down with flamethrowers of Artemisia annua because they didn't want the plant to be used anymore, which there is no logical explanation from it except making money, which is a very sad story. There's also great documentaries about it. I think one is called Fever or just Malaria. So I highly recommend looking at that. So it's a very controversial plant, a highly political plant. So it is very interesting. for the use of malaria, for the use of viral infection. You can look into it. Of course, always speak with your therapist about it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of plants, and we probably will bring into our shows sometimes the political aspects around plants, which in my and I would say Philip's opinion is a very strange idea that a plant becomes political when it's growing in the earth and actually should be accessible to all people. And I think it's a awful way of controlling certain aspects of our society, especially through health, which is the main thing of our show, is to bring the power back to the people. So this is why sometimes this subject will be brought up about political and plants and the political reasons why they're not being used. Thank you, Phil, for bringing that subject up. It's very important to both of us. I'm going to say a little bit about the vulgaris. We did talk about a little bit, some different things you can use. It is a great one because it grows here everywhere, as Phil already mentioned, and you could go outside and you will find it straight away. And so you can collect it. Of course, always be collecting it near a nice spot. And it's a bit softer. It's actually quite a bit softer than the vermouth or the wormwood. That's a little bit more of a harder digestive. It's much stronger. So you can use this if you've got I would say when you want something a little bit more gentler on your digestive tract. But I actually wanted to mention about the nervous system aspects of this plant and how it works on our nervous system. And it is relaxes tension within our symptoms. So some women will use it for menstrual cramps, and it works really beautifully on the uterus to relax what forms the cramping. And just keep in mind that if you are going to use it, I would recommend going and seeing someone, because the reasons why you're having the cramping or why you may be having menstrual issues can be so broad, and it's really important that you see a practitioner like me or Phil who are trained in this area. But it's not just used for the cramping, so not just used for females, but has also been used for like depressions where there is nervous tension. So always just think where a depression or an anxiety or stress or your confusion is coming from. And if it's coming from a very tense state, you could try using the mugwort, maybe drinking just a soft tea, and it will also help sleep. So it is a slight sedative and has been used when people are having some sleeping issues. Again, when it has to do with anxiety and tension. The mugwort particularly is also used in lots all over the world. It's used in TCM as moxa. I have a flower essence that I make. It's used in homeopathy. It's used in Ayurvedic medicine. So it really is a world-renowned plant. And some people would classify it as a weed, and often these weeded plants are the most powerful. So just keep in mind that these are really great plants to work with and to learn about. Because they are so accessible, as in you can pick them everywhere and you can use them, and they're in quite abundance for lots of reasons why they are in abundance, probably because we should be using more of them. And all the things that Phil talked about, you can also use the vulgaris for. As we said, it's used in magical practices, spiritual, so it really has a very broad range, this plant. It's used in food, and it's celebrated in some countries. People hang it at their doors. I even hang it at my door, especially in winter. It keeps away the bad spirits and bad energies. You can use this for smudging, which is a point actually we did want to quickly talk about. That using mugwort, instead of using plants that are on the red list or shouldn't be picked or are endangered, mugwort is a really beautiful plant to use for smudging. So all you smudgers out there, go grab yourself some mugwort. You can whip up a little smudge stick. It's a great time to be doing it. Now the summer solstice is coming up. It's really beautiful at the moment, mugwort, in Berlin. And so you can make some up, and instead of going out and buying some of these plants or woods, resins that, shouldn't be used too much, use yourself a bit of mugwort, a bit of mugwort. And you can also throw a bit of St. John's wort in there at this time of year. And they're two beautiful plants to work with when you're creating a smudge stick.
Mm-hmm. Talking about creating stuff, let's switch a little bit for our recipe time.
Recipe time! Recipe time!
Okay, I promised you a recipe about on absinthe, which I am going to tell you about. But we are a little low on time, and I really want you to listen to an interview of Sam that I met on a seminar about building bridges last weekend. So I will post the recipe on Instagram. We will post the recipe on Instagram. You will find us on Modern Mystic Radio, where we'll be posting this absinthe recipe, and you have.
And I'm going to post a nice salted mugwort for everyday kitchen use. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we will post them in the coming week.
Yeah. If you are listening online, you can also find our Insta profiles in the show description on fr-bb.org. Again, you find us on Instagram, Modern Mystic Radio. So now we let Sam talk a little bit. I met him on a seminar last week in Building Bridges, which is basically like giving out a helping hand in order to help somebody else bring his dream into reality and support each other, because I think that's what we all need at the moment, is helping each other and giving out our helping hands, or reaching out our helping hands. So enjoy the time with Sam, and this is it from us.
See you next time.
Wer bin ich? Also, Sam. Ich habe noch ein paar andere Namen. Arens, aber der Nachname. Bin Bildhauer, Dozent für Bildhauerei, habe da viel mit Menschen gearbeitet. Also 200, 300 Jugendliche und Erwachsene jedes Jahr gehabt. Bin vor 12 Jahren durch einen schweren Unfall in Schamanenhänden gelandet, die mich wieder in diese Welt zurückgebracht haben. Und das war dann auch die Begegnung mit Räuchern. Räuchern von Kräutern, Heilkräutern, rituelles Räuchern. Das ist lang her. Das gab in Corona dann eine Auffrischung. Mir haben da die Leipziger Hexen geholfen und ein Kräuter- und Rauchmagie-Seminar, und da habe ich auch in der Assistenz dann nochmal extremer mit gerade Artemisia vulgaris, dem gemeinen Beifuß, zu tun gehabt. Und parallel lief dann ja diese Hetzkampagne gegen Artemisia annua als Heilkraut, wo einige Leute sagten, das könnte uns sehr bei dieser Corona-Krise weiterhelfen. Das waren die beiden Faktoren, die ausschlaggebend waren, nochmal ins Thema Beifuß einzusteigen.
Wie kann man mit der Pflanze in Kontakt gehen?
Es ist ein bisschen schwierig, an Pflanzen ranzukommen. Also der Martin Hirt von Anamed, die verkaufen die A3, also die etwas potentere für die Malaria-Kliniken. Die hat mehr Artemisinin. Da kann man Pflänzchen kaufen. Samen kriegt man leider in Deutschland nicht mehr. Ähm, Es ist schwierig, an Samen zu kommen. Also 2, 3 haben es noch. Und wenn du erst mal eine Pflanze im Garten hast, dann kommen sie automatisch wieder, weil es ja nur eine einjährige ist, also bei der Anua. Aber an diese eine Pflanze muss man kommen. Und da braucht man irgendwen, der einen kennt, der einen kennt. Und es gibt viele, die so sind, die so eine Macke haben wie ich und erstmal alle Kinder verschenken auch. Also ich habe bestimmt 350, 400 dieses Jahr allein in meinem Bekanntenkreis verschenkt, auch zum Weiterverschenken. Ne? Und ja, und so nimmt das seinen Weg, verbreitet sie sich. Ne?
Und wenn ich jetzt an eine Pflanze gekommen bin oder ihnen wild begegne, wie nimmst du für dich selbst Kontakt mit der Pflanze auf?
Ähm, Letztendlich ist es wie mit allem. Also nimm einen Wanderer oder dem du im Wald begegnest. Das ist natürlich immer eine Frage, wie offen bist du, um den anderen zu spüren, um mit dem anderen Kontakt aufzunehmen. Das Gleiche ist bei Tieren oder Pflanzen. Wenn du die Bereitschaft hast, dich darauf einzulassen, dann gehst du respektvoll erstmal mit um, blökst nicht gleich los, sondern guckst erstmal, horchst, was sie zu sagen haben, wo sie herkommen, wo sie hinwollen. Also das Interesse zeigen und wie bei allem nicht zu viel im Kopf labern und auch nicht zu viel labern. Also zuhören ist erstmal die Devise und spüren, ins Spüren kommen. Und da kann sie uns viel, viel mitgeben. Also ich habe viel von ihr in den letzten Jahren gelernt. Allein auch wenn ihr der Kontakt zu viel ist, wenn es zu viel regnet und ach, dann werden die Blätter gelb und dann 2 Wochen später ist wieder alles in Ordnung, weil du den Platz gewechselt hast oder anderes Wasser nimmst und es braucht seine Zeit, das alles mitzukriegen, aber es ist einfach toll, wenn man sich auch die Zeit nimmt. Ist wie bei Menschen oder bei Tieren. Ne? Also mit einer Wildente oder sowas einen Kontakt aufnehmen ist großartig, aber ist schwierig. Ja, es ist ein anderes Nachbarhund. Ne? Aber mit Wildling ist einfach auch toller, ne? Weil, wow, das hättest du nie für möglich gehalten, was die auf einmal erzählen. Und war gestern auf einer Gesundheitsmesse und wirklich die eine hat mir gesagt, oh, nicht mehr kuscheln. Und weil irgendwo alle möglichen Leute dran wollten. Und die hat mich angefleht, sie wegzunehmen. Und ich habe sie dann aufs Autodach gestellt, damit keiner mehr ranging. Ja, die hatte die Schnauze voll. Und das ist einfach toll, wenn jemand das auch sagt. Ja. Und hört.
Genau.
Ja.
Schön.
Aber das sieht man wirklich. Sieht man.
Wenn du dir die Pflanze als Person vorstellen würdest, wie würde diese Person aussehen für dich?
Ich habe im Laufe der Zeit, ich habe eine der größten Göttinnensammlungen Europas, also hier in Deutschland oder in Europa ist nur der Vatikan hat mehr Göttinnen und hier die Berliner Museen. Und ich habe auch viele, viele Muttergöttinnen selbst gehauen in Stein. Ähm, Das ist es. Es ist, wie der Name schon sagt, es ist das Schoßkraut, es ist die Vollendung, es ist das Beherbergen der Schwangerschaft, das Schützen der Frucht. Es ist für mich eine Schwangere, und zwar eine nicht unbedingt junge Frau, es ist eine schwangere, reife, alte Frau, die sich auch mit Gaia, mit der Erdmutter eins ist. Das merkt man auch, wie die Pflanzen wachsen. Also so, wie sie verwurzelt sind in der alten Erde, wie sie Kontakt zum Vater Himmel sind. Also das ist für mich, eigentlich ist es eine reife, ältere, schwangere Frau, die auch auf dem Boden im Lotussitz sitzt, also sehr verbunden ist. Ja, so sehe ich sie. Ne? Ausnahmen natürlich, also diese spritzigen Artemisia annua, die sind ein bisschen mehr tanzende Zigeunerin, sage ich mal. Die sind vital und grün vor Leben. Die haben ein bisschen anderen Charakter. Also jeder Einzelne hat einen Charakter, aber Mutter Vulgaris sitzt auf dem Boden und weiß alles, hat Kontakt zu allem. Also das ist eine unserer mächtigsten Pflanzen. Nicht umsonst heute noch im Allgäu permanent geräuchert. Früher die ganze Rauchkultur oder Räucherkultur, da gab es ja keine Kohle, mit der man gearbeitet hat. Man hat getrocknete Artemisia als Bälleken gerollt und das, was ich als miträuchern wollte, war da drin. Und es war Zunder genug, nur dies Kraut. Ich brauchte keinen Träger. Und das ist einfach großartig. Heute gibt's dann eben, die modernere Version sind dann eben Räucherbündel, die ich anstecke. Früher wurde nur eine Kugel gemacht, ein bisschen Glut rein und das geräuchert. Ne?
Das Thema der Show ist ja auch Träume.
Mhm.
Was bedeutet es für dich, der Traum?
Mhm.
Und wie verbindest du den Traum mit der Artemisia?
Mhm. Ich habe viel Traumexperimente gemacht. Ich habe auch viel Substanzen genommen, um zu träumen. Ich hatte einen traumatischen Unfall. Ich bin mit dem Fuß unterm Flugzeug hängen geblieben. Und das hat mich Jahre in Albträume gebracht, so dass ich also auch Traumsuggestion damals mir beigebracht habe. Und es ist ein tolles experimentelles Feld. Und früher wurde eben auch unter anderem Artemisia geraucht und wenn man ein bisschen mehr Artemisia vulgaris, also den gemeinen Beifuß, raucht, dann hat das Auswirkungen auf auch die Tagträume, ähnlich wie Kiffen. Ist es ein bisschen anders. Cannabis ist, je nachdem welche Sorte man raucht, da ein bisschen forscher im Herankommen und im Umsetzen. Die Artemisia vulgaris ist ein bisschen sanfter. Dafür ist der Hustenreiz, naja, ist bei Cannabis genauso hoch für Anfänger. Aber es ist anders und man erinnert sich auch anders dran. Also wenn man Draht zu der Artemisia vulgaris hat, dann sind die Träume surrealer und man erinnert sich mehr dran. Man muss bei all diesen Zusätzen oder auch bei Traumsuggestion höllisch drauf aufpassen, weil die Traumwelten irgendwann schöner werden als die Realität. Und das ist eine große Gefahr. Ich habe dann Traumtagebücher auch geführt und die Alarmglocke ging immer an, wenn ich mehr als 10 Stunden in der anderen Welt blieb. Und dann musste ich mir das auch verbieten. Dann habe ich schlagartig aufgehört mit diesen Traumexperimenten, damit ich wieder in dieser Welt zurechtkam. Also das kann sich verselbstständigen.
Gibt es noch etwas, das du gerne in die Welt rausgeben möchtest hier über das Format?
Wir sitzen hier gerade nach einem tollen Seminar Brücken bauen. Und das ist es. Also wirklich dieser Versuch, sich gegenseitig zu helfen, auch wieder zu verstehen. Ich bin ein großer Freund von runden Tischen, wo alles sein darf, wo keiner verurteilt wird für das, was er sagt oder denkt, und wir wieder über alles reden dürfen. Respektvoll miteinander, ohne irgendwie auf Kosten eines anderen. Und da helfen uns auch die Pflanzen, da hilft uns die Natur, da hilft uns total die Natur. Also diese Erdung, die gerade die Heilkräuter auch nochmal verstärken, hilft uns, gerade unseren Weg in dieser schwierigen Zeit auch weiter zu gehen. Also Mut, sowas auch auszuprobieren. und fangt mit irgendeiner kleinen Pflanze an. Und Artemisia ist großartig und sie steht überall, in jedem Garten, an jedem Wegrand steht eine Artemisia vulgaris. Großartige Pflanze. Probiert sie als Kaugummi, dreht oben die Spitze ab, achtet drauf, also bei Schwangeren Vorsicht zu genießen. Ja, sie bringen viel in Fluss, früher auch eben benutzt, um bei der Regel mitzuhelfen oder abzutreiben. Aber wer nicht schwanger ist und jetzt als Kaugummi ist großartig. Also wirklich, Spitze rausdrehen, einfach kauen. Gucken, was passiert. Reinhorchen, was passiert im Mund. Wie fühlt sich das Zahnfleisch an? Kaut's eine Stunde, kaut's 2 Stunden, 3 Stunden. Es wird sich verändern. Und ihr nehmt was mit und einfach den Mut, euch drauf einzulassen, auf solche Sachen.
Vielen Dank.
Super gerne. Vielen Dank, dass du mich gefragt hast.
So, thank you a lot, Sam, for having this interview with me. That was really amazing meeting you this weekend. If you want to know more about Sam, you can visit his website. It's sam, sam-c.de. Also sam-c.de. Internally, that's it from us this month. What we want to mention still is a little bit of commercial for our friends and colleagues, Sarah and Ulrike from the Berliner Salon für Homöopathie. We recommend listening to it on Spotify or their website. It's a beautiful podcast from 2 of our teachers talking about homeopathy. And I produce it also. That's why I'm mentioning it here. So find them on Spotify, find them on Instagram, Berliner Salon für Homöopathie. And the last words belong to Tash.
If, of course, we've mentioned it a few times. If you would like to follow us, Phil is at Power Plants Berlin on Instagram, and I'm at Avant Garden Life on Instagram. I also hold quite a lot of workshops, and we both treat people. We're both practitioners, so you can also book appointments through us. And if you're interested in any workshops, check out that or check out my website, avantgardenlife.com. And that's all from us today. We're looking forward to hearing or seeing or talking next month on our next theme. And allow yourself to dream, stay wild, stay weird.